This past summer, Americans flocked to rallies and town halls, speaking their minds like never before. And right here on this show, pollster Frank Luntz helped all of us sort through these historic outpouring of public support. And tomorrow, Frank's brand new book, What Americans Really Want, Really, is going to hit bookstores all across the country. The book is based on over 2,000 surveys, focus groups, style groups, and more that have been conducted over the past decade. As a matter of fact, the most comprehensive study ever. Frank Luntz joins us. This really is, when you look at the actual numbers of people you talked to, looked at, the length of time, this is serious, comprehensive survey.
Thousands of people participated, and we asked them all sorts of questions about religion, about employment, about politics, about retirement, about their kids. And there's one thing that comes through more than anything else. Whatever that existed in 2006, 2007, 2008 does not exist in 2009. That whole phrase, reset, we're having it right now. Our expectations, our hopes, our dreams have completely changed in the last 12 months, and they're not going back.
You see, one of the things I think has happened, and you were quoted in the New York Times, and we were discussing this earlier, and they basically, you don't go along with the comparison in '93, but you do agree that there were a whole series of issues leading up to the ascendancy, once again, of conservatism. That model you see reemerging.
Well, what's happening is you've got a complete lack of trust. What Americans really want, really, is about the disintegration of our faith in politics, of our faith in business, of our faith in the media, our faith in education, our faith in virtually every institution. Sean, in our lifetime, because we're almost the same age, we've never had this degree of pessimism, of anger, of frustration. Those town hall meetings that you see, they're not made up.
Hey, Frank, look at the numbers. I'm mad as hell and I'm not going to take it anymore. 72%. Live free or die. 88%. Now, here was an interesting one. I want it all and I want it now. Only 35%. One of the things that impressed me, 10 Commandments. Good to live, good guide to live by. Nearly 89%. In God we trust. 82%. This tells me that this is a conservative, center-right country. Right or wrong?
That is correct. But it also says that the public is so anxious for something that is different. Barack Obama may have represented the change in 2008. We're now deep into 2009, and they don't like the change that they've gotten. But it's deeper than that. It's more social. It's more cultural. You're talking about Acorn. The American people don't know who to trust. They don't know whether their bosses have it out for them or whether they're really there for their benefit. They don't know whether their kids are going to have a better life. In fact, one of the other things we found, do you realize that only 1/3 of Americans believe that their children are going to have a better life than them in this country?
That has never been the case before.
Correct. But I don't want people to get depressed, because there are answers to it. I'm going to give you one right now for your viewers. The more spiritual you are, the more religious you are, the happier you are, the more contented you are, the more focused you are on family.
That's true in my life. I could identify completely with that.
And that's one. A second one is that the more focused you are on your kids and the next generation, the more you believe that you yourself can succeed. We are an intergenerational society. We don't want the way things are today. We always believe in intergenerational improvement. Some politician is going to come around, really focus on education, really hold the schools accountable, and they're going to succeed.
Let me ask you about this, because there's a lot of talk of this political populism. And we've seen this throughout the years happen many, many times. When Reagan spoke to CPAC in 1975, no pale pastels, bold colors, bold differences, he actually raised the question himself, and he said, there are some that say, we need a third party. He said, no, we need a revitalized second party. I've been very critical of Republicans for years about spending and abandoning conservative principles. Is it really now the Republican Party's opportunity to go back to those Reagan conservative roots based on these polls that tells me if they do, they'll win?
Well, there's one rule that is in this book, and it's in every chapter, and that's the rule of accountability. You say what you mean, and you mean what you say. You look people straight in the eye. You
tell them the truth.
You tell them the truth, and that's what they want to hear from people. They're not getting the truth from anyone. There's hostility towards Washington, hostility towards Wall Street, and Main Street feels like it's getting screwed.
Yeah, well, it's going to be very interesting. One thing, the president's speech the other night was not a game changer. We still see skepticism, opposition. What did you think of when you saw this march on Washington this weekend?
I saw people who weren't necessarily Republican, independents, moderates are frustrated because they're not ideological and they don't see that anybody's representing them right now.
But is it also because that the Barack Obama that they heard and listened to reading a teleprompter is very different than the Barack Obama they now believe is president?
If they could speak to Barack Obama, they'd say to him, it's time to dump the teleprompter, look me straight in the eye, and tell me the truth.
But more importantly, does Barack Obama, if he says unemployment's going to stay below 8%, doesn't he have to do it? If Barack Obama says the stimulus is going to create jobs and we lose 4 million, doesn't he have to do it?
Say what you mean what you say, and if you get what Americans really want, you'll know exactly what to say and exactly what the American people mean.
Bookstores tomorrow morning?
Tomorrow morning, yes.
All right, Frank, as always, thanks for being with us. Appreciate it.